So good morning, everyone. I thought I would start our little journey here. Going up Englewood Drive in Yakima. If you'll remember, this is where we came to when we left Germany and came to Yakima, Washington. I believe, if my memory serves correct, Dad went to Vietnam and we came to Washington. Of course, this road's changed quite a bit. If you remember, there were apple orchards on both sides of this road. I'm pretty sure it was a lot more narrow. And Grandpa Reisman gave us a pickup truck to drive. And I think for the most part, there were a few of us riding in the back of the pickup and a couple of us riding in the front of the pickup. And I have a faint recollection, something about, I don't know, did you fall out of this pickup, Charlene? At some point or something coming up this road? I can't remember the exact. Oops, there's a policeman. Oh, he's not in his car. Anyhow, we came up to the end of this road here on 80th, and there was nothing up here but sagebrush. And this particular house on the left, I do remember somebody lived there that we knew. And we lived over in this ravine. I'm going to see if the road takes us over there. So, oh, maybe that was the house. Can't remember. Okay, so we came to the top of this hill, and here we are on Scenic Drive. It still says dead end. And if you remember, there was a water tower up here. And the water tower is still up here. Hard to believe. We came from living in an apartment in Germany to living on Scenic Drive in Yakima. There's that water tower that was there. And then we lived in a little house just off to the left here, down in this ravine, from what I remember. Obviously, there's no little houses here. Now it's a gated $1 million homes. But my memory serves me correctly, it was somewhere right in here that there was a little house. And that's where we lived. So our little journey begins here. So we'll start this section off here at the Airline Market. I can remember walking down here and picking up bottles in this field for 3 cents and 5 cents return deposit on Coca-Cola bottles. And so down the road here, this is 10th Avenue. And I believe that would have put the Pat Node's house as either right there or right here. And then turning down this direction would be bringing us to this school where we used to play out in the grass, and this little house. And this little house is where we used to live when we were in the first grade. So I just stopped and got permission to take some video of this house. But this is where we were living. If you remember, when President Jack Kennedy was shot and the funeral was taking place, I remember sitting there in the living room. I think school was probably canceled, but I would have been in the first grade. This would be in 1964, 63, 64. And then it was also the time when our Uncle Earl passed away from cancer. And they didn't live too far from here. I remember visiting their house just one time. This is the school that we got to use this field. Of course, this fence was not here. And I can remember times when Uncle Don would come down and hit golf balls across this field, because one time he hit a ball and it hit me. So down the street there was to their house. I guess it would have been the one just to the left at the end of the street. And when Uncle Don would take us on rides of motorcycles, there was a ditch in front of his house, if you remember that. He would go down into that ditch and back up the other side as the last thrill of the ride. Of course, I remember they had a dog named Fritz, and one time Fritz came down here, and about 3 houses down on the left, man, they got into a big dog fight. I think there was 5 dogs, and I can remember the neighbors trying to break it up. It was terrible, and Fritz got really chewed up. Anyway, there you have it. Oh, at the end of the field, or the end of the street, there was a field of thistles. And one time we took a cardboard box and we used it as a tank, and we rolled across the tops of those thistles. So anyway, here we go. So the little house across the street, that's where the Matheny's lived. We spent a lot of time there because Aunt Leola babysat us from time to time. And then there's the Broadway Grange Hall. I can remember learning to ride a bicycle in that parking lot. Here's a funny little account. I remember we were talking about hitchhiking. And so I got the nerve to stand out on the side of the road and stick my thumb out. And when I did, a car pulled over, but it was a taxi, and it was Dad getting out of the taxi. Anyway, a lot of interesting memories, funny times. I remember riding tricycles in that driveway, oftentimes.